Well, Sarah Palin was back in Alaska recently, of course, filming a reality show, and she had a confrontation with one of her former constituents. This is too good to resist. Take a look.
Oh, you wanted me to be your governor. I'm honored.
No, well, I wanted you to honor your responsibility.
Yeah.
That is what I wanted.
So,
and to be a part of the political process instead of becoming a celebrity.
To protect our military interests so that we can keep on fighting for our Constitution, those protections, those freedoms that evidently
by using your celebrity status. Certainly not by political.
Celebrity.
Well, you're certainly not.
I'm honored, though.
You're certainly not.
She is a celebrity. I'm just going to go out there and say.
There's no doubt.
Okay.
There's no doubt she's a celebrity. Dan Balz with the Washington Post. Thanks for joining us today. Is Sarah Palin a celebrity?
Yes.
That really is an easy one. Want to begin today's discussion. It's a much more somber story out of Alaska today. Ted Stevens, it was part of this plane crash in Alaska. I mean, just an incredible career. You look at this was a father of statehood in Alaska. I mean, one of the state's founding fathers.
A remarkable career, both in Alaska and in Washington, and ended on for him a very sour note. It was convicted of corruption charges, which were later then thrown out, but it cost him his seat in Congress, in the Senate. This is a tragedy. It is a reminder of what politicians put themselves through. I mean, you all know, you can't count the number of times politicians hop on a small plane to find constituents in some remote part of their state and in bad weather and put themselves at risk. And this is another reminder of the dangers that go along with the job.
Particularly in a state like Alaska, yeah.
That's right, and it's the second plane crash that he had been involved in. His first wife was killed in 1978 in a plane crash as well.
Right, and then there was, of course, the celebrated plane crash years ago that killed Hale Boggs, who was then the House Majority Leader. So.
Right. Today's primaries, want to discuss particularly Colorado, where I know you've spent some time. We like focusing on this Obama versus Clinton dynamic in the Democratic primary. I don't know that it's all there, but you do have another example where the establishment choice is not necessarily the choice of actual voters.
Well, that's right, but you also have a situation in that race between Michael Bennet and Andrew Romanoff, in which the establishment choice is also the newest politician on the block.
Right.
So it's a very messy situation out in Colorado. I mean,
actually been in politics less. I've elected to fewer offices.
His name on the ballot.
The insurgent candidate is the former House Speaker, Andrew Romanoff. The establishment candidate is somebody who had never run for political office before. But there's no question that Michael Bennet is cast as the establishment candidate, and he's President Obama's candidate and the candidate of inside Washington, if you will. And Andrew Romanoff has used that effectively against him with some very, very tough ads, one that was declared over the top by the Denver Post. But nonetheless, this is a race that, as we go into the final hours of it, appears too close to call.
Were you surprised to hear President Clinton's robocall in Colorado? We're not sure exactly how many people heard it, but
I wondered how many people heard it myself. I was surprised because when he did the endorsement, it was, I will do the endorsement, but I'm not going to go campaign. I'm not going to make calls. I'm not going to do anything else other than that. So it was an interesting measure of his commitment to this in the final hours that he was prepared to do that. Again, we don't know how much that's going to make a difference.
And it wasn't the highest energy of robocalls. I'm just going to go out there and say that.
Wasn't that the case? I listened to that and it was like, whoa, really phoning it in on this one.
Exactly.
Well, they're taking him hostage or something.
Briefly, the other Colorado race, Tea Party rising once again. Ken Buck going into Election Day with a real good shot.
Yes, I think, a couple of weeks ago you had said he would have been the clear favorite at this point to win, but he had a couple of stumbles down the stretch about high heels and boots.
Right.
And so this is now, again, one of these too close to call races. But this is a much purer example of sort of insurgent activity versus establishment. Jane Norton, not a particularly strong candidate in the early stages of the race. Ken Buck, a much better candidate, tapped into that Tea Party energy, and he may well be the nominee. And I think at this point, many Democrats think he might in fact be the stronger nominee.
Yeah, and that's an interesting development, counter to some of what we've seen with the Tea Party energy elsewhere.
Exactly.
Dan Balz from the Washington Post, Post Politics. We appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
That does it for this edition of Top Line. It's twitter.com/Rick Klein, twitter.com/ZByronWolf. We got Palin, we got SmackDown.